Namaskar to all Book Lover Club members at Belgaon. I am Vandana Mahajani from Navi Mumbai. I have been a professor and taught at higher education institutions at Baroda and Navi Mumbai. Presently, I am holding the Daitva of Nagar Pramukh at Navi Mumbai Nagar, Vivekananda Kendra Kanyakumari. I am also part of the Vichar Doot initiative of the Kendra. My interest in reading, writing and environment come quite naturally to me being an academician. I am grateful to Book Lovers Club management, particularly to Shri Sudhir Zogrekar, Nikhil Nirgundkar and Kishore Kakredada for giving me this opportunity to present something before you. Today I am going to review the book named Nadvedh, written by Sulbhatai Pishwekar and Shri Achyut Godbole. Sulbhatai is a trained singer. She trained under Vidushi Kishoritai Amonkar. Achyut, on the other hand, is not a trained singer. He is, however, in a position to appreciate it to the core. Thanks to the early childhood and home experiences of these two brother-sister duo. Their grandfather, Dr. Maskar, was very fond of music and the mother was equally fond of music. She would have her transistor on the moment it used to be morning, and morning ragas and classical music played in their homes the whole day. The book Nadvedh introduces us to classical music. It talks about evolution of music and also the history of classical rag. The origin of some of the most beautiful folk songs and some rag is presented in a very interesting manner in this book. The Indian classical music belonged to only one school of thought in India till the 13th century. The origin of this music lies in our close connect with nature. They say the passing of the wind from a dry hollow bamboo with holes and the sound made by it must have given rise to the bansuri. The sitar is an offshoot of the veena, and so are many other string instruments like the tanpura and swaramandala. Mridanga and pakhwaj were initially the instruments used. He says maybe the pakhwaj tied on the hinge on the wall must have fallen and broken into two pieces, and out of it must have come the tabla, nagada and saughada. The sound of dried peas in pea pods must have given rise to the gunguru sound. Music has been associated with seasons, birth, life and death. Shetkarinchi Gani, Korinchi Gani, Bhakti Sangeet, Lok Sangeet have been with us since time immemorial. Markandeya Puran, Bhagavad Puran, Vayu Puran, Linga Puran and Vishuddhara Mottara Puran have many chapters on music. Samaveda itself means Swara Sahit mantra chanting. Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra and Dattilam Brihadesi mention the arts in detail. However, it must have taken long time for the group of 7 swara and then the presently used set of 12 swaras to evolve. In Karnataka or Karnataka classical, all regions that lay on the other side of the Vindhyas were called Karnataka. Karna means ear and Atta means horns. That which haunts the ear is what belongs to Karnataka style. Purandara Dasa is considered to be the Pitamaha of Karnataka music. In Maharashtra, all the great saints have used this music to spread religion in their land. Drupad Dhamar and Khayal singing styles origins nobody knows for sure, but temples have played a big role definitely. Sharangdev wrote Sangeet Ratnakar in the year 11,075 to 12,047 AD. Gopal Nayak was a great singer in Yadav Darbar. Amir Khusrau was basically a warrior and was impressed by Gopal Nayak. He carried him away as a loot booty after the war to Delhi. Both experimented with music and they say Khayal was born out of it. Raja Mansingh and his wife Mugnani gave a lot of support to Khayal Gayaki. Rag, its parts, etc. are explained by writers in their book. Tansen was a Drupad Gayak. Haridas was his guru who used to live in Vrindavan and sang in the temples. These temples later entered the courts and palaces. Holi and Fagun Geet are sung in Dhamar. Dagar and Gundheta Bandhu are Dhamar singers. Khayal Gayaki developed later as it gave freedom to expression to singers. Did you know that the Aarti, Sukhakarta Dukharta, composed by Samartha Swami Ramdas, is composed in Rag Yaman by Hridaynath Mangeshkar. Along with this number, a number of film songs like Jari Badra Bheri Ja रे जा रे, जिंदगी भर नहीं भूलेगी वो बरसात की रात, छुपा लो यूं दिल में प्यार मेरा. Or the very naughty number, निगाहें मिलाने को जी चाहता है. Or the sensuous number, चंदन सा बदन चंचल चितवन. They all belong to the same rag Yaman. Rag Bhimpalasi is another very popular rag among singers. Indrayani Kathi, the very well-known abhanga sung by Bhimsen Joshi, is based on this raga. Ghulam Ali's very famous filmy ghazal, Chupke Chupke Raat Din, is also based on Rag Bhimpalasi. Or the unforgettable number, Bad Naino Mein Badra Chhaye by Lata Didi. They all belong to the same Rag Bhimpalasi. The authors mention Rag Todi, sung by Bhimsen Joshi. Nandana Kankariya Jina Maro was heard by the Dutch filmmaker at an international film festival in Vancouver. He was so impressed by Bhimsen Joshi that he flew down to India to Pune to make a film on Bhimsen Joshi just after he heard Rag Todi in his voice. Imagine the impact these ragas have had on people. There is another beautiful story of Raja Sarjoji of Tanjore. He had a singer by the name Sita Ramaiya. Due to the need for money, he had kept Rag Todi as a security at a money lender. When he was asked by the king to sing the raga, he was not in a position to sing because he had already kept it as a security. When the king came to know, he offered money and could only after offering the money to the money lender listen to Rag Todi. Tansen used to say, Kahe Miya Tansen suno Shah Akbar, Rag mein pratham Rag Bhairav. Kalingada Rag originated in Kalinga Desh and is also very close to Bhairav. There are so many variations of Bhairav. Ananda Bhairav, Saurashtra Bhairav, Bengal Bhairav, Mand Bhairav, Ahir Bhairav, the famous composition पूछो ना कैसे मैंने रैन बिताई belongs to the Ahir Bhairav Rag. Shiv Mat Bhairav, Prabhat Bhairav, Kabir Bhairav, Bihar Bhairav, Nata Bhairav. In Bairagi Bhairav, we see the famous song Pailatoge Kahu Ko Katahe. Another beautiful incident. In the year 1977, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi was invited to sing by Karan Singh at the Punyatithi, Nehru Punyatithi ceremony in Delhi. And Karan Singh requested him not to sing Rag Malhar because otherwise it would rain. And there was only a pandal which covered all the people who were invited to listen to the music. And it so happened that Panditji sang the song and it rained and all the people who had come to attend got drenched. Mia Tansen singing Rag Deepak and his wife and daughter singing Malhar simultaneously to cool the fire and heat generated by Deepak Rag is a well-known story to all. Another beautiful rag is Malkaun's. Aatha hai chandrama raat aadhi मन तड़पत हरि दर्शन को आद तू छुप है कहाँ तू छुपी है कहाँ are some of the beautiful compositions of Rag Malkaun's. An offshoot of this raga is Rag Chandrakaun's. The story of its origin is also very interesting. It is said that B.R. Devdharji, who was playing the harmonium, by mistake played Shuddha Nishad instead of Komal Nishad. It sounded so sweet and so Rag Chandrakaun's was born. Rag Darbari Kannada is very old as 13th century they say. It must have originated in Kannada Pranta, so the name. Some of the most memorable songs of the films in this rag are Mohabbat ki jhooti kahani pe roye, Ye hawa ye raat ye chandni, Raha gardishon mein haradam, Basti basti parbat parbat, Tu pyar ka sagar hai, Toote hue khwabon ne, are some of the beautiful compositions even today heard by the younger generations. Khamaj Rag has been immortalized by the composition written by Gandhiji. Vaishnava Janato Tene Kahiye Jai. Kuch To Log Kahenge is another film song which is very popular and based on Rag Khamaj. The list of songs, musicians, Pandits, renowned artists, and film songs based on these rags are presented beautifully in this book. Despite such wonderful compositions today, we fail to attract younger generation to our classical music. Some of the reasons given by the writers are money and interest top our priorities today, and therefore the younger generation is not attracted. Today, Guru charges per sitting. The Guru Shishya Parampara seems to have become non existent now. Programs are conducted on large scale and run with the help of sponsors. Therefore, good PR and marketing abilities also need to be present with the singer along with the talent. Talent thus takes a backseat. However, but the brighter side is the introduction of new television programs giving opportunity to the young ones to showcase their talent. Organizations like Spick McKay, established in the year 1977, have been doing a good job of spreading awareness of classical music among public. The Sangeet Natak Academy Award is the highest award given by the government in the field of performing arts. Signing off, they say, do listen to the 3-minute rag creation given by Pandit D.V. Paluskar. This exercise, if done regularly, will help one develop an appreciation for classical raga and identifying the raga in the song. A good light reading for a music lover and those with a musical ear. I wish each one of you just browse through the book once and get the feel of the beautiful musical legacy that we have with us. Thank you so much. Bhimanna or Pandit Bhimsen Joshi was born on 4th of February 1922 in Kannada Deshastha Madhava Brahman family to Guru Raja Rao Joshi and Godavari Bai at Gadag in Dharwad district of Karnataka. His father was a school teacher. Bhimsen was eldest among 16 siblings. He lost his mother at a young age and was raised by his stepmother. As a child, Bhimsen was fascinated with music and musical instruments like harmonium and tanpura, and it was seen that he often would follow processions accompanied by music band. This exercise often used to get him tired, and he was forced to curl up and sleep somewhere along the path, and he would get lost. In the whole process, his parents would have to go to the police station to report a lost and found case for their own son. Fed up, his father came up with a solution, writing "Son of School Teacher Joshi" on Bhimsen's shirt whenever he went out of the house. This worked, and those who found the boy sleeping would safely deposit him back to his home. His first music teacher was Shannappa of Kurtakoti, who had trained with the veteran singer Inayat Khan after learning Rag Bhairav and Bhim Palasi. The one and only unique vigorous style of rendering he developed along with advanced trainings by other teachers is attributed to the basic training he received from Channappa. Bhimsen Joshi next went to Pandit Shamacharya Joshi, who hailed from Bagalkot and was a priest and a classical singer. Pandit Shamacharya taught him to sing as well as play the harmonium. Shamacharya Joshi ji was a descendant of great Haridas, Sri Mahipati Dasaru. As revealed by Shankaracharya Joshi ji himself, when he was alive, it was a turning point in Bhimsen Joshi's life that Shamacharya Joshi went to Bombay for recording his songs by HMB, where Sri Bhimsen Joshi ji also accompanied him. And due to ill health of his guru, the guru returned back to Bagalkot after recording a few songs and asked Bhimsen ji to render rest of the songs himself. This proved a major breakthrough for Bhimsen Joshi in the initial stage of his career. Bhimsen ji had heard a recording of Abdul Karim Khan's Thumri, Piya Bina Nahi Avat Chain, in Rag Jhinjhoti when he was a child, which inspired him to become a musician. During this time, he also heard Pandit Savai Gandharva at a performance in Kundagol. In 1933, the 11-year-old Joshi left Dharwad for Bijapur to find a master and learn music. With the help of money lent by his co-passengers in the train, Bhimsen reached Dharwad first and later went to Pune. Later, he moved to Gwalior and got into Madhava Music School, a school run by Maharajas of Gwalior with the help of famous sarod player Hafiz Ali Khan Sahab. He traveled for 3 years around North India, including Delhi, Kolkata, Gwalior, Lucknow, and Rampur, trying to find a good guru. He met Ustad Mustaf Hussain Khan of Rampur Gharana and stayed for more than 1 year. Eventually, his father succeeded in tracking him down in Jalandhar and brought young Bhimsen back home. It was in the year 1936 that Savai Gandharva, a native of Dharwad, agreed to be his guru. Joshi stayed at his house in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Pandit Bhimsen Joshi performed live first at the age of 19 in the year 1941. His debut album, containing a few devotional songs in Marathi Hindi, was released by HMB the next year in 1942. Later, Joshiji moved to Mumbai in 1943 and worked as a radio artist. His performance at a concert in 1946 to celebrate his guru Savai Gandharva's 60th birthday won him applause both from the audience and his guru. In 1986, he received his first platinum disc. Bhimsen Joshiji's performances have been acknowledged by music critics such as S.N. Chandrasekhar of the Deccan Herald to be marked by spontaneity, accurate notes, dizzyingly paced taan, which make use of his exceptional voice training and a mastery over rhythm. The Hindu, in an article written after he was awarded the Bharat Ratna, said Bhimsen Joshi was ever the wanderer, engendering brilliant phrases and taans more intuitively than through deliberation. Panditji occasionally employed the use of sargam and tihai and often sang traditional compositions of the Kirana Gharana. His music often injected surprising and sudden turns of phrase, for example, through the unexpected use of boltans. Over the years, his repertoire tended to favor a relatively small number of complex and serious rag. However, he remained one of the most prolific exponents of Hindustani classical music. Some of Panditji's more popular rag include Shuddha Kalyan, Miya Ki Todi, Puriya Dhanashri, Multani, Bhim Palasi, Darbari, Malkaus, Abhogi, Lalit, Yaman, Asavari Todi, Miya Ki Malhar, and Ramkali. He was a purist who was not dabbled in experimental forms of music except for a series of Jugalbandi recordings with the Carnatic singer M. Balamurali Krishna. Panditji's singing has been influenced by many musicians, including Srimati Kesharbai Kerkar, Begum Akhtar, and Ustad Amir Khan. Panditji assimilated into his own singing various elements that he liked in different musical styles and gharanas. He, along with Srimati Gangubai Hangal, along with others, took Kirana Gharana to heights and are proudly referred to as worthy son and daughter of Kirana Gharana. Both were from Old Dharwad district of Karnataka. In the devotional music, he was most acclaimed for his Hindi and Marathi and Kannada bhajan singing. He has recorded bhakti songs in Marathi, Santavani, Kannada, Dasavani. Let us listen to one of his songs. Panditji was widely recognized in India due to his performance in Mile Sur Mera Tumhara music video that was released in the year 1988, which begins with him and which was composed originally by him when he was asked to do so by the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. The video was created for the purpose of national integration in India and highlights the diversity of Indian culture. Panditji was also a part of Janagana Mana produced by A.R. Rahman on the occasion of the 50th year of Indian Republic. Panditji sang for several films including Basant Bahar with Manna Ray in Marathi movie Swayamvar Zhale Siteche, for famous song Ramya Hi Swargahuni Lanka in Kannada movie Sandhya Raga, where he has sung extensively. It includes a song E Periye Sobagu, rendered in both Hindustani and classical Karnataka styles, along with M. Bala Murali Krishna. He sang Birbal My Brother with Pandit Jasraj. He also sang for Bengali film Tansen and Bollywood movie Aankhein, which later fetched him National Filmfare Award for Best Male Playback Singer. His song Bhagyada Lakshmi Baramma, a Purandara Dasa composition, was used by Anant Naga and Shankar Nag in the Kannada film Nodi Swami Navu Irodu Hege. He also sang as a playback singer for the Marathi film Gulacha Ganpati, produced and directed by P.L. Deshpande. Panditji and his friend Nana Saheb Deshpande organized the Savai Gandharva Music Festival as a homage to his guru Savai Gandharva. Along with the Arya Sangeet Prasarak Mandal in the year 1953, marking Gandharva's first death anniversary. The festival has been held ever since, typically on the second week of December in Pune, Maharashtra, along with Kundagol Dharwad district, and has become not only a cultural event for the city but an annual pilgrimage for Hindustani classical music lovers all over the world. Panditji conducted the festival annually since 1953 until his retirement in the year 2002. As a classicist by training and temperament, Panditji was renowned for having evolved an approach that sought to revive or achieve a balance between what may be termed as traditional values and mass culture tastes. And as such, he went on to have supposedly the largest commercially recorded repertoire in Hindustani vocal music. Pandit Joshi's iconic status in the music world has earned him a whole generation of Sunni Shagirds who, by merely listening to him, have picked up his style and not through any formal tutelage. His greatest endeavour in perpetuating his legacy could be the Savai Gandharva Festival, held at Pune annually since the year 1953, which seeks to promote a certain music culture. Madhav Gudi, Professor Baldev Singh Bali, Narayan Deshpande, Shrikant Deshpande, Srinivas Joshi, Ananta Bhate, and others are some of his more well-known disciples. Bhimsen Joshi ji married twice. His first wife was Sunanda Katti, the daughter of his maternal uncle, whom he married in the year 1944. He had 4 children from Sunanda: Raghavendra, Usha, Sumangala, and Anand. In 1951, he married Vatsala Mudholkar, his co-actor in the Kannada play Bhagyashri. Bigamous marriages among Hindus were prohibited by law in the Bombay Presidency, so he took up residency in Nagpur, where bigamy was allowed, and married there for the second time. He did not divorce or separate from his first wife. With Vatsala, he had 3 children: Jayant, Shubhada, and Srinivas Joshi. Initially, both his wives and families lived together, but later on, he moved to Pune, and they both visited each other until death. Joshiji was admitted to Sahyadri Hospital on 31st December 2010 with gastrointestinal bleeding and bilateral pneumonia. Due to difficulty in breathing, he was put on ventilator support. He suffered convulsions and was put on dialysis too during his stay in hospital. Though he recovered briefly for 3 days, when he was taken off the ventilator, his condition deteriorated and he died on 24 January 2011. We have a legacy of his beautiful abhangas, bhajans, and classical music records fortunately with us to enjoy for the rest of the time. He will live with us throughout. Gnana Saraswati Kishoritai Amonkar. Kishoritai Amonkar was a leading Indian classical vocalist belonging to the Jaipur Atroli Gharana. She was born in Mumbai on 10th of April 1932. Her father died when she was just 7 years old, leaving behind Kishori and two other younger siblings to be raised by her mother, the classical vocalist Mogubai Kurdikar. Kishori Tai was a performer of the classical genre Khayal and the light classical Thumri and Bhajan. Kishori Tai was trained under her mother, the classical singer Mogubai Kurdikar, also from the Jaipur Gharana, but she experimented with a variety of vocal styles in her career. Kishori Tai's initial training in music was by her mother. She has stated in an interview that her mother was an exacting teacher, initially teaching her by singing phrases and making Kishori repeat them. In the early stages of her career, she travelled with her mother to performances, accompanying her on the tanpuras. Mongubai performed at the time when women singers weren't respected much. Amonkar remembers travelling with her mother in a third-class compartment and falling asleep with her head on her mother's shoulder. She would accompany her mother on the tanpura in the concert. She wells up as she recalls the way organizers would treat her mother, speaking down to her, paying her little, and making her stay in someone's home and not at a proper guest house. She was denied the respect a classical musician desires and deserves. Kishori Tai says, I saw this shoddy treatment of a legend like her. It hurt me deeply, but my mother had 3 children to bring up, so she continued. I decided that when I become a musician, I would never allow any of this. And I don't. I always stay in a proper hotel suite. I make sure that I am provided with a car which is available at all times and that all the payments are made properly. In the early 1940s, young Kishori Tai began to receive vocal lessons in Hindustani classical music from Anjani Bai Malpekar of the Bhendi Bazar Gharana and later received training from tutors of several other gharanas as well. Others included Anwar Hussain Khan Sahab of Agra Gharana, Sharat Chandra Arolkar of Gwalior Gharana and Balakrishna Bua Parvatkar. Kishori Tai has credited Anjani Bai in particular with teaching her the technique of meend or gliding between notes. At the age of 25, she suddenly lost her voice. It was Sardeshmukh Maharaj's treatment with Ayurvedic medicines that she regained her voice after 2 years. Amorkar's later work in light music reformed her classical singing and she modified her Jaipur Gharana performance style by applying features from other gharanas as well. She has been both praised and criticized for pushing the boundaries of Jaipur tradition. She was a romanticist and her approach prioritized emotional expression over tradition. So she often departed from the Jaipur Gharana's rhythmic, melodic and structural traditions. Kishori Tai has criticized the idea that schools or gharanas of music determine or constrain a singer's technique. Kishori Tai has stated that while the Jaipur Gharana's techniques and methods form the base of her style, she performs several variations in it, including an adoption of alapchari or a relaxing of the link between the rhythm and the note. Kishori Tai has expressed her views on how musical education should be conducted, emphasizing the importance of enabling students to move beyond repetitive techniques and learn the tools that allow them to improvise on their own. She credits her mother with using this approach to teach her, you have to walk and run on your own. The Guru gives you strength to be able to do that. If you don't, then you remain ordinary. My mother made sure I wasn't ordinary, she says. She noted that training is an ongoing process and stated in an interview that she often listened to her own recorded performances to analyze and improve her technique. She emphasized emotion and spirituality as essential parts of her singing, stating that, "To me, it is a dialogue with the divine, this intense, focused communication with the ultimate other." She has often spoken of music as an act of sublimation, noting that it is the sadhana to attain the sadhya. She realized that between the two notes lies the shruti. That shruti should be made alive and it should stand like a person before you when you sing, she says. In 2010, she published a book in Marathi titled Swarartha Ramani, in which she has elaborated her views on musical theory and practice. She was sometimes also described as temperamental. Responding to these comments, Kishoritai has stated that this reputation perhaps derives from her insistence that performers be treated respectfully, and to the fact that she chooses to spend time before her concerts in solitude and preparation instead of socializing with fellow musicians. Amolkar has stated, "I never pray to the gallery. The audience cannot disturb the loneliness of an artist." Amolkar did not enjoy giving press interviews either. "One has to understand that my music starts from a note and not from a rag. It is the medium through which I express myself," says Kishoritai. "My question to the god of my building isn't if he knows a particular rag. It is whether he liked my music. For this, I have to know everything about the medium. How do these notes move? It's only when you understand the medium that you can surpass it. For that, you go to the beginning of the musical expression," says Kishoritai. Kishoritai's career as a classical vocalist grew in the 1960s and 70s. Kishoritai has said that she used this hiatus in her career to consider and develop her own style of singing and transcend classical schools of music. Amonkar Tai has also spoken about the treatment of women performers as classical musicians, noting that the experience of watching her mother performed informed her own approach to professionalism and fair treatment, particularly when it comes to ensuring that musicians are paid well for their performances. On one notable occasion, she refused to perform because the audience was badly behaved, emphasizing the importance of respecting the performance during a concert. At Gulmarg, while she was singing, Farooq Abdullah was also present. A plate of pears was passed around. She saw this and stopped singing right then and there. On another occasion, an industrialist's wife ordered a pan while she performed. Kishoritai shouted, "Am I a kothewali to you?" and she stopped singing. At a Spikmeke function in New Delhi, too much time was wasted in arrangement of mic, light, stage and other things. She was extremely displeased. She says, "Music is not entertainment. It is not to be sung to attract audience." She would not meet anyone before or after performance. Before performance, she needed time to adjust her Swaramandalas, and after performance, she would be in a different world altogether. She created many compositions of a number of rag. Amonkar Tai was also a popular speaker and travelled throughout India. She was best known for her lectures on the role of rasa, feelings or emotions in music. In addition to her career as a classical vocalist, Kishori Tai was known for her performances of lighter classical pieces with a wide repertoire of thumris or bhajans, as well as some performances for film soundtracks also. She sang for the soundtrack of the 1990 film Drishti. She became interested in film music and sang playback for the 1964 movie Geet Gaya Pattharon Ne. However, an incident occurred then which put her off and she decided to stay away from film music further because she found it compromising on the swara over the lyrics, the essential element of any genre of music. Also, her mother, Mogubai, disapproved of working in film music. Mogubai is reported to have told Kishoritai that she would be forbidden from touching her mother's tanpura if she would continue to work in the film industry. That was it. Kishoritai after that never sang for film music. Kishoritai received several of India's national awards and civilian honours, including the Padma Bhushan in 1987, Padma Vibhushan in 2002. She was awarded the Sangeet Natak Academy Award in 1985 and the Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship for the year 2009. She was awarded the prestigious Dr. T.M.A. Pai Outstanding Konkani Award in 1991. In 2016, she was one of the 7 recipients of the M.S. Subbulakshmi Award for Classical Music. She refused the Bharat Ratna as it was decided to give to Sachin Tendulkar. She said, "It is better she is not included in the same category." Kishoritai was recognized by several of her contemporaries and fellow musicians for her skill and technique in classical music. The great tabla maestro Zakir Hussain has said that Kishoritai's performances of several rag, such as Rag Bhoop, are landmark performances that take place over hundreds of years, and you will talk about them for the rest of your life and rest of many centuries to come. The Karnataka vocalist T.M. Krishna praised her work to classical music, saying, "When Kishori ji sings, she is not trying to be new, but just by being with her music and continuing to submit to it, she has given classical music an everlasting newness and freshness. This is true creativity." Tai is the subject of a documentary titled Bhinna Shadaja, which was directed by Amol Palekar and Sandhya Gokhale. Several of her students have become classical musicians of their own repute, including Manik Bhide, Ashwini Bhide Deshpande, Nandini Bedekar, Maya Upadhyay, Raghunandan Panshikar, Suhasini Mulgaonkar, Arun Dravid, Meera Panshikar, Meena Joshi, Vidya Bhagwat, Aarti Ankalikar Tikekar, Devaki Pandit, Sangeeta Katti, Manjari Anarse Kelkar, and violinist Milind Raikar. Kishoritai's granddaughter, Tejasri Vibhas Amonkar, is also a budding classical musician and was trained by Kishoritai herself. Kishoritai was married to Ravindra Amonkar, a school teacher. The couple had 2 sons, Vibhas and Nihar, who are both in their 60s today. Kishoritai lived in the neighborhood of Prabhadevi in Mumbai. She died on the 3rd of April 2017 in her sleep, a week before her 85th birthday at her residence in Mumbai. The month of April thus marks not only the birth anniversary but also the death anniversary of the great singer. She lives amongst us with her Bhoop, Jivanpuri, Nandasaran, Lalit Vibhas, and Kaunsi Kannada, to name a few. This talk about Gana Saraswati Kishoritai would be incomplete without listening to her rendition of Rag Bhoop. Let us listen to the beautiful composition.
जन्म जन्म को सजन सहेला रे मिल गए सब सुरन के बेड़ सहेला रे सहेला रे मिल गए सब सुरन के बेड़ सहेला रे मिल गए सहेला रे सहेला रे मिल गए सब सुरन के बेड़ा सुनाए सहेला रे सहेला सहेला रे मिल गए सहेला रे सहेला रे सहेला रे सहेला रे मिल गए सकल सुरन के बेर सुनाए जन्म जन्म को संग न भूले सहेला रे सहेला रे सहेला सहेला रे सहेला